we're going back to have some really wonderful live music. These guys were with us this morning, and they've come back this evening to share their music with us. It's music with a Venezuelan, South American, Latin American origin, if you like. It's Edgar Macias and Sarah Tweed. Edgar and Sarah have played together piano and song for some time on places like the Queen Victoria Cunard cruise ship, and indeed Edgar was the resident band leader in its Queen's Room Orchestra. The sad side of this story is that Edgar is from Venezuela because he can't be in Venezuela, and many of his family also, because of the situation there, are dispersed around the world and they're not able to meet. Do you remember the story of Olivia Colman talking to Steve Ali from Syria earlier in the day, where he hadn't seen his family for 4 years? Well, Edgar is in a similar position to that, and we offer him not just our thanks tonight, but our hopes for a better future for him and his family. Sarah, we know Sarah is a member of the Bourneville group and a full-time lawyer, but her first love has been singing, and now they're going to show us how much they love their music by playing for us with a Latin American beat. Edgar, I don't know if you feel free to say a couple of words about Venezuela. We know we're running late, but it is amnesty after all, so if we can't talk about Venezuela, I don't know who can. But brief but to the point. Welcome both of you again, or welcome back.
Thank you very much for your introduction, and thanks for what you're doing, the hard work for the whole world, when you're trying to bring this justice, social justice and human justice. And as I said in the morning, I wanted to create awareness about the regime in Venezuela, the brutal regime that torture people and kill people or whatever. And I want to dedicate this piece. It's a little piece, a Venezuelan piece, written by Antonio Esteves, called Ancestro, which means ancestral. And you have to picture the lands in Venezuela in the southeast, where you got the Angel Falls, where you got this ancient, the oldest part of the planet. The rocks are the oldest in the planet, where it's from the time from the dinosaurs. And Conan Doyle, when he wrote the Lost World, that's where he referred to those lands. And this is called ancestral, means ancestral. And I want to dedicate this to the Indians, Venezuelan Indians, that were displaced from their lands, that they were killed, or they had to go to flee to Brazil, to another country, because they cannot be any longer in their lands. Okay.
Now I cannot see.
Thank you, Edgar. Can everybody hear us okay? Good. Okay, we're now going to just, obviously we know we're pressed for time. I'm going to sing a song, it's not Latin American at all, but it's about love and loss and remembering people that you love or a person that you love that you can't be with anymore. We're dedicating this to Edgar's family. They are in Canada and Panama and Venezuela. Once upon a summertime, if you recall, we stood beside a little flower store. A bunch of bright forget-me-nots was all I'd let you buy me. Once upon a summertime, just like today, we loved the happy afternoon away and stole a kiss in every street cafe. You were sweeter than the blossoms on the tree. I was as proud as any girl could be, as if the mayor had offered me the key to Paris. Now another winter time has come and gone. The pigeons feeding in the park have flown. But I remember when the vespers chime. You loved me once upon a summertime. Tree. I was as proud as any girl could be, as if the mayor had offered me the key to Paris. Now another winter time has come and gone. The pigeons feeding in the park have flown, but I remember when the vespers chime. You loved me once upon a summer time. Thank you. This next song is written by Sergio Mendes and it's called So Many Stars. It's a song about dreams. you, which is completely politically incorrect, but it was written in the 20s when people didn't know any better. It's uplifting, it's fun, you should know it, and you can sing along. It's called The Sheikh of Araby. I'm the Sheikh of Araby, and my love belongs to me. At night when you're asleep, into your tent I'll creep. The moon and stars above will light their way to love. You'll rule this land with me, 'cause I'm the Sheikh of Araby. Yes, I'm the Sheikh of Araby, and your love belongs to me. At night when you're asleep, into your tent I'll creep. The moon and stars above will light their way to love. You'll rule this land with me, 'cause I'm the Sheikh of Araby. I'm the Sheikh of Araby, and your love belongs to me. At night when you're asleep, into your tent I'll creep. Well, the moon and stars above will light their way to love. Yes, you'll rule this land with me, 'cause I'm the Sheikh of Araby. You'll rule this land with me, Sheikh of Araby. Thank you.
Well,
Hello to all the Venezuelans.
well, no one can say we haven't got the most diverse program, I'll tell you, in this festival day. Thank you, Sarah. All those nights she sat in Bourneville meetings talking about problems and protests, and we didn't know that I didn't know that she could perform like that. Now I know what it's like going on one of those cruises. I could sit myself back in the chair and have a gin and tonic and listen to that music all evening. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And as I say, talking about a diverse program, I think it's I just check. I think it's still me. Sadly, sorry everybody. We now have another extraordinary. I mean, it really is building up now this evening. An extraordinary performance. This is a film, but it was filmed especially for tonight, and the dance in it was created especially for tonight. It's by Magdalen Gorringe, who tells us about her dance at the beginning of the film, so I won't say too much about her, but she trained in Indian dancing as a child and has maintained that learning throughout her life, and she dances tonight, or she has choreographed a song by Leon Rosselson, who's an icon of the folk world and an icon of protest music, with both fantastic melodies and binding lyrics. And I noticed on the Who's Here lines that Leon is here tonight, I think. So Leon, you're very welcome to our evening. Sorry if we kept you a bit later than planned, but it's great to see you. I don't know if Magdalene's there because I can't see everybody who's on the you know, who's in a seat somewhere watching. But Magdalen worked with a guy called Harvey White to make this film, and Leon's song is splendid. So this is going to occupy all your senses, both watching the dance and listening to the words.
Hi, my name's Magdalen. I perform the classical Indian dance style Bharatanatyam. I started learning Bharatanatyam when I was 7, when I was a child growing up in Madurai, which is a temple town in Tamil Nadu in South India. I continued learning Bharatanatyam when we returned to the UK, and I have spent several years working as a Bharatanatyam performer, workshop leader, administrator, and researcher. Bharatanatyam, like many classical Indian dance styles, has a very close relationship to text. Many of the dances are based on a particular song or on the text of a particular song. Usually these songs relate to the gods and goddesses within Hinduism. So Bharatanatyam and many of the classical Indian dance forms have a whole repertoire of hand gestures. There are 28 single hand gestures and 24 double hand gestures, and they each have particular meanings. So for example, this hand gesture, which is Alapadma, can mean flower. This hand gesture, which is Chaturo, can mean small. So there is some similarity to sign language, but it's not as similar to sign language because the same hand gesture can mean many other things as well. So this hand gesture can also mean joy. It could be used to show anger or fire. It could be used, as I used in this piece, to show reaching, and so on. I came across Leon Rosselson when I was a teenager. I was introduced to his work by my dad. I've always loved his work because of his passionate commitment to social justice that runs throughout his songs. And I feel he really expresses very clearly and very passionately some of the anger and occasional despair that I feel as well at looking at social injustice. Because of my interest in Bharatanatyam and because of my interest in Leon Rosselson, it was quite natural for me to bring the two together. So I just started choreographing to his songs because it seemed the obvious thing to do. And what I hope to do through the dance is to help draw attention and focus to the words and maybe help to bring to life a bit more some of the narrative.
On one side there is power and the luxury to choose. On the other side are empty hands and nothing left to lose. And the wall that stands between them rises higher by the day. And the razor wire is razor sharp to slice your heart away. And don't you know, you won't be welcome. They've got ways, they've got words to keep you down. He said we had to leave, I don't know why. We had no food, we walked for days and days. We chewed on leaves, we drank from muddy pools. My mum got taken sick, I watched her die. The desert burned my throat, I ached with fever. I think my uncle carried me across. I don't know how we got past the men with guns. That great barbed wire fence that stretched forever. You see these hands, the scars are still blood red. And now they want to send us back, he said. On one side there is hunger in a wasteland of despair. On the other side is plenty, and plenty still to spare. And the wall that stands between them rises higher by the day. And the razor wire is razor sharp to slice your heart away. And don't you know, you won't be welcome. They've got ways, they've got words to keep you down. She said, the soldiers came, we had to flee. We ran so fast, we left the dog behind. The dog was howling, howling on his chain. I wanted to go back and set him free. My dad grabbed at my hand and yelled out, no. I heard a bang, and then the howling stopped. Still in my dreams, I hear my poor dog howling. And when I wake, I cry because I know I have no home, and now my dog is dead. And all because we ran away, she said. On one side there is terror and the charred flesh of war. On the other side are arms deals and profits set to soar. And the wall that stands between them rises higher by the day. And the razor wire is razor sharp to slice your heart away. And don't you know, you won't be welcome. They've got ways, they've got words to keep you down. He said, they took me, beat me black and blue. They asked me questions, made my body scream. When I come here, I say the things they did. They lock me up, they say it isn't true. My head is full of ghosts, sometimes I weep. I don't know where my family has been taken. This place is bad, a prison camp with guards. At night I walk the room, I cannot sleep. I ask asylum, they lock me up instead. I think one day I'll kill myself, he said. On one side there is torture, where silence drowns the screams. On the other side is charity, and a market selling dreams. And the wall that stands between them rises higher by the day. And the razor wire is razor sharp to slice your heart away. And don't you know, you won't be welcome. They've got ways, they've got words to keep you down. She said, they call us black swine, gypsies, scum. The gangs with knives and baseball bats and chains. I've got this wound still here upon my head. We call the cops, they laugh, they never come. They firebombed our house, my brother died. Now we live here in this damp dingy room. And the English gangs, they call us gypsy scum. They come with knives, I'm scared to go outside. I just want peace, a safe place to lay my head. Is that so very much to ask? She said. On one side there is power and the luxury to choose. On the other side are empty hands and nothing left to lose. And the wall that stands between them rises higher by the day. And the razor wire is razor sharp to slice your heart away. And don't you know, you won't be welcome. They've got ways, they've got words to keep you down. And don't you know, that this is England, where they've got laws, ways, words to keep you down.
So now we go on, and again we've got sorry. Now we go on to Ian, and Ian's going to talk to us first, and then introduce the next performers. Ian.
Yes, hello. I'm just going to read out to you, as we've been doing through this big event, one of the articles from the UN Declaration on Human Rights. Article 14. Everyone has the right to seek and to enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution. So it's my pleasure and honour to introduce you to the three Wakelin brothers, two of whom we saw earlier today. Jake, Luke and Harry grew up in Harborne, and they play classical, soul and jazz. And tonight in their set, they play two numbers as if chosen by me, composed by a jazz musician, my favourite Herbie Hancock. And so they will be playing the first two of their three numbers, Chameleon and Watermelon Man.
Hello, our first piece is going to be Watermelon Man. Hope you enjoy. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. chameleon. It's going to be quite a fast piece. Hope you enjoy.
Are you going to be doing another number?
Yeah, one more. This is
Is
called
it the chicken?
Hope you enjoy.
Amazing, wonderful.
Brilliant.
I could make my saxophone sound anything like that.
Excellent.
Young talent, fancy. That's what Amnesty needs. Thank you very much. Brilliant.
Right, over to me, John.
Yes, it's you, Linda,
Yeah.
the wonderful Linda from Sutton Coldfield.
Hi. Yeah, I don't know about anybody else, but I feel really chilled after that. And as someone struggling to play the guitar and learn bar chords at the age of 61, I wish I'd carried on as a teenager. They're absolutely
Talk about your
brilliant.
grandmother, Linda.
So now it's a real privilege to be able to introduce to you Helen George, TV and stage actress, best known to you, I'm sure, for her role as the much-loved Trixie Franklin in BBC's Call the Midwife, which, of course, as a series, addresses a lot of social justice issues. She's received critical acclaim for her varied stage roles, including Trevor Nunn's revival of Terence Rattigan's Love in Idleness. And of course, we shouldn't overlook the fact that she also reached the semi-finals of BBC's Strictly Come Dancing in 2015. Unfortunately, she can't be with us live tonight, but this piece has been especially recorded for tonight's event. And she also makes another little announcement at the start, so spot that. Helen will read a sad and moving poem by Elizabeth Arif-Fear. I will let Helen introduce the poem. After she's read the piece, the author, Elizabeth Arif-Fear, will be joining us live to talk about her poetry. And I can see her on the screen at the moment, so that's great. So thanks, Pete.
Hello, it's Helen George here. Thank you so much for having me as part of your Festival of Social Justice. Excited to be part of the evening, a shame we can't be there in person, but I've also joined Amnesty, so looking forward to attending future events. This evening I will be reading a poem by Elizabeth Arif-Fear called Angel Beneath the Ground. It tells the tragic tale of a family awaiting the birth excitedly of their child. When this child is born and is found out to be a girl, they feel unable to raise her and she is unfortunately killed. A tragic poem. I wish you all the best with this evening for spreading awareness for social justice and indeed amnesty. A beacon of love, hope and joy. She was merely a seed, not yet a girl or boy. A precious gift of mercy and shining light. How could she ever have known of her upcoming fight? Instead, this little gift grew and blossomed amongst the beating soul of her mother so dear, in a cocoon of warmth and love, with never a thought of fear. Yet day after day, and with the passing of each new night, she also moved closer and closer towards the eternal light. For as the days, weeks, and months passed by, so too drew nearer her mother's cry. And as her mother's screams of pain eventually called out loud, the new parents waited anxiously to become ever so proud. Yet as the screams grew louder and louder, and the truth drew near, the cocoon of love and comfort instead transformed into fear. For as the shining light above her legs grew brighter and the blessing of life was born, the truth was revealed and the parents were torn. Revealed in bare, blunt truth was the fear of disappointment, poverty and shame, for which this one would never ever be blessed with a name. Alas, sadly, the reality of life, so small, warm and true, was just too much for the family with money so few. Having so quickly entered into the burning light of day, in the eternal life this little one would now find her way. For this joyous blessing would return to the light after the passing of darkness and pain. Torn away from those who would never have treated her brother the same. For a toddler, a child, an adult, she would never be free. Yes, she would never be cherished, welcomed, nor even found. For instead, she was now an angel beneath the ground.
Thank you, Helen. And now if we go to Liz, live, talking about her poetry.
Good evening, everybody. So as was pointed out, that was a poem that I wrote after watching a documentary about female infanticide in India. A UN report that came out in 2020 revealed that India and China were the biggest countries that undertook female infanticide, both in sex-selective abortion, that's 90 to 95% of cases, and also in post-birth death, for example, by feeding infants poisoned milk, smothering them or drowning them. I watched a documentary about this and was moved by it, and that was one of the poems that I featured in my book. As a writer, I loved poetry as a child, but sort of lost a bit of interest in that. And then as a teenager, started getting involved with Amnesty, much more human rights activities, and that's just sort of become my life as an activist and writer. I set up a blog and was, passionate writing about all the different issues that were happening in the world. But I came back to poetry. It was around the time of the siege of Eastern Ghouta in Syria. The conflict in Syria has been 10 years now, and it was really a climax where in Eastern Ghouta, the community was basically under siege. And I really felt that despite all the petitions we were signing, all the awareness that was being raised, all the letters to MPs, it really kind of got to an emotional point where at that point I thought, how much more can be done? Aid was getting through, but with a lot of difficulty. And I really started to reflect and think about the people in that situation. And that's when I penned the poem, What If It Were You? That's really a reflection on imagining what if it were us in that situation, that helpless situation. And I thought, okay, this is going well, and got great feedback from loved ones. And I started an anthology, which Angel Beneath the Ground is another poem in that collection. The book deals with lots of different issues. There are some strong themes in there, such as child rights, so the female infanticide, FGM, child marriage, LGBT persecution, lots of all the different kinds of issues that we deal with at Amnesty. And that became the book, What If It Were You? It's a real honour to have Helen George read the poem, as we can all appreciate female infanticide is a complete horror and it needs to stop. That's a bit about me. If anybody's got any questions, feel free. I'm now working on my second poetry manuscript. This time it's more autobiographical, so it's focusing on feminism and faith, so a bit of a spiritual journey, me going through some gender-related struggles as a Muslim woman. So I'm hoping that'll be engaging, but in a different kind of way, but still obviously within the theme of gender equality, social justice, the theme of human rights, something that I'm passionate about. I'm working on that. Don't know when it'll be finished, but hopefully it'll be out soon. Thank you,
Liz. Thank you. And certainly, having been involved in this festival, it's meant that I've been introduced to so many more people and their work. So that is really good to hear. So does anybody have any questions for Liz? Just unmute yourself. Be brave.
Mm.
It might just be a bit too late in the evening.
I'm sure it's been a long day for everybody.
Everybody's stunned.
Linda, there was one point, I don't know if I missed it because I was sorting something else out. But Liz, am I right that the sale of your book, some of the proceeds are going to one of the charities? Is that right?
Yeah, freedom from torture. Yeah.
Which is great.
I think there's a coupon code that's been put out by the publishers for a discount. I think it's £8 rather than 10, and I think £1 of that's going to freedom from torture. There's full information on their social media and I think on the website. But if you've got any questions, just get in touch.
That's really kind. We saw the little film about freedom from torture earlier on because one of our other performers, Jenna, was also donating proceeds from the sales of her poetry. So
I came into contact with volunteers from them when I was at uni, and yeah, amazing charity. Yeah.
She's got its fist up in the air. Thank you.
So Sunny Marko-Bennett is a contemporary dancer, and in a wonderful combination of skills and imagination, Sunny is creating her own dance styles and performances to put a marker down for the future dance stages on which she aims to be a star. There is no better place than Birmingham for an aspiring star of contemporary dance to put down a claim to the future stage. Birmingham is home to the International Dance Festival, and we want Birmingham to be Dance City of the world. In fact, it has just been announced that post-pandemic, the Dance Festival is back online at, it's BIDFTV. I don't know if anybody knows what that stands for.
Birmingham Dance Festival. Birmingham International Dance Festival.
From the 3rd to the 13th of June, and live outdoors from the 21st of September to 3rd of October. So for tonight, we have our own Festival of Dance. This piece was devised especially for our festival, so by Sunny Marko-Bennett, and it's called Blue 6.
And Sunny, today, just before you go on, please. Sunny just wrote today. Bear with me, because she asked us to say this. She wanted to thank Maisie for filming, and the music is Train Dream by Ben Colgan. And I'm happy to be taking part in this festival to encourage a younger generation to get involved with Amnesty International, and the work that they do to make the world a better place for all. Isn't it great to see young talent? I mean, we've had such a feast of all kinds of skill and beauty, but it's great to see the young ones coming up. There's Sonny's granddad crawling off. Derek Bennett introduced us to Sonny, and Derek Bennett in our group. So, well, speaking of young talent, our next guy is coming back. He's probably had a nap this afternoon, and and he's coming back because we're going to have a sort of a cheerful ending to the night. We've got 2 more performances for you before we finish. But let's, for the moment, welcome back the one that, and somebody else. He's got his team.
Midwife. She brought me a cup of tea.
A cup of tea, that's what we all want. The wonderful Spoz. Ladies and gentlemen, when he's had his sip of tea, Spoz.
How you doing, everyone? Everyone okay?
Not swear too much, because he's going to be on it. Now he's on night. He thinks he can go mad now. Over to you, Spoz. Sorry.
All right, bless you. Thank you very much. Nice one. On my days, I've just nipped in just to catch your poem, Liz, which was what a moving piece of work and beautifully delivered as well. Is it Helen George? Is it Helen? Yeah. I'm rubbish with names. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I was on earlier on doing something for the kiddies, getting down with the kiddies and all that. So I'm just slumming it a bit with the grown-ups tonight now. But yeah, I thought I'd try and keep it sort of poignant. So a few years back, I went to Palestine to play football, of all things. Went out and played football in Palestine with a charity called, funnily enough, Football for Palestine. So it's a few years back. I say a few years, but about 3-4 years ago, something like that. So there I was, a 50-something playing football. We had a few kids on our team, which is just as well. But most of the time, we got our arses spanked good and proper by a lot of Palestinian refugee teams who were far better than us. But we had a great time anyway. But I saw the horror. Well, no, let me rephrase that. I saw a fraction of the horror that they're subjected to every day. I saw the apartheid, I saw the separation, I saw the checkpoints, I saw the fields with empty that were full of olive trees that had been ripped up. So I wrote a poem called Football for Palestine, which actually is available, a shameless plug. There you go, my book there. It's called Sometimes Angry, and I am sometimes angry. I was very angry in Palestine. It's although you know what, it's a funny thing when your anger soon dissipates when the IDF stick a gun in your face. And I found that was I did kind of calm down and think this guy might shoot me now. So yeah, it was a couple of times we had the IDF come on our coach and harass us. And another time in Bethlehem, I had a gun pointed at me. But I was told that it was okay, Spoz, don't worry about it, just worry when they start shooting. So, yeah, I'm making light of it, but I did shit my pants almost. Anyway, this is called Football for Palestine, goes like this. Months of Sundays have passed us by, yet all I see is now. Where Palestine only drinks when the Israeli authorities allow, because wars are waged by withholding water so that livelihoods and livestock face the drawn-out slaughter of thirst. Where bouts of manufactured droughts leave a land once blessed, now cursed. Cursed by the daylight robbery that runs rampant from the river to the sea. Cursed by the scorched earth of a flash grenade and tear gas spree. Cursed by a torn out and replanted olive tree that claims a tortured truth. Yet a multitude of broken cameras are inadmissible as proof. I see makeshift umbrellas against a hard rain that showers market stalls with debris and disdain, rocks and rubbish again and again under the IDF's watchful eyes. Yet they're deaf, dumb and blind to the cries of victims they're told and have grown to despise. Hunger strikers facing death all because of their love of life. A bitter, twisted irony in the homeland of the Christ. So We play the beautiful game with beautiful people who face anxiety and upheaval from illegal settlements built on stolen land, where a call for justice will bring down the heavy hand of an apartheid state that tries to silence cries of freedom that persist and resist and refuse to capitulate. So, for a short while, we raise a smile and reconcile that whilst our actions may appear small, our solidarity is shared with the kick of a ball. Our words on the walls that we'd gladly trade for bridges are words for humanity that go beyond religious. Hold on to your wishes, your dreams, your defiance, like the words in the anthem of the Small Heath Alliance. Existence is resistance. Let's share the load and keep right on to the end of the road. So that's that one. Just going to have a quick sip of tea. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I don't know if you see the picture there. That was a photograph I took of on my phone of the watchtower, one of the many watchtowers in Bethlehem, and that's where I had the gun pointed at me. I was carrying a big box of spray cans, and the guy from the local refuge centre for refugees says, it's all right, they don't mind if you spray a few things on the wall, just make sure there's no anti-Israeli sentiment, otherwise they might shoot you. So I sprayed on, I don't know if you can see that, KRO Palestine. If anyone supports Birmingham City, you'll know what KRO stands for. Keep right on. I mentioned it at the end. So I'm just going to do one more poem. Now I'm going to clear off. Yeah, I get involved in quite a bit of activism and such like. I also went to the jungle in Calais, just solidarity, help out. We took a load of worked in the Care for Calais warehouse, distributing food and clothes and such like. And this was a poem. I actually went on Valentine. I was over there over the Valentine's weekend a few years back. Obviously, the camp's been destroyed now by the lovely French authorities. So this one's called. Here, thanks, KRO Spoz. Cheers, right on. It's called Valentine's Day in the Jungle. And this is the last one from me. If you do want to buy the book, there it is. Sometimes Angry. You can get it from Waterstones. So yeah, just pile into Waterstones and get it there. It goes like this. I hear stories of a sinking ship that can carry no more, can't make it ashore because it's packed to the brim, where conditions are poor and pickings are slim. It sounds grim. But while sailors squabble over scraps and squeeze spaces, the opulent officers wear grins on their faces as they drill holes of austerity in the hull, whilst reciting their well-rehearsed mantra, the ship is full. Yet they swing fat cats and gorge in their enormous quarters, building barbed wire barriers instead of bridges over waters, exporters of war and slaughter to order with a barrage of broadsides on a biased border. I see stories of hope and resilience where others are told to see fear and ambivalence, the threat of disobedience and an assault on sensibilities, just pathetic excuses for continued hostilities. I see frozen faces with the warmest smiles where others are told to see rapists and paedophiles. I see the cost of ignorance and neglect, people paying high prices where others are told to see terrorists, told to devour divisive devices. So why alarms and why surprises when a doorstep challenge becomes a crisis? I see families who have cried so many tears they have none left, one time blessed though now bereft on Calais coastline as unwelcome guests. So how apt and fitting it is that those benevolent French authorities see refugees with tearless eyes, bloodshot and raw, so provide them with canisters filled with more. I tell stories till I'm hoarse, but is anyone listening? Compassion's gone missing and right-wing rhetoric resolve is stiffening. It's as crippling as Annie Wilkes in Misery, yet Joseph marches on in the midst of this artillery. He's here because he's sure metaphors won't kill as quickly as a civil war in West Sudan will. This once proud man tells me of his plight in pidgin English. It's left him morally molested and pigeon-chested. Says he'll swim the channel if he has to, once he's fully rested from his last attempt at stowing away. So we drink tea together on Valentine's Day. And I make no apology and refuse to say sorry when I say the best thing to come out of France right now would be 1,000 hopeful smiles on the back of a lorry, a humane quarry and a ferry full of hope, not hate, to fill our soul, with an open gate at border control. Because these are the sad and selfish days where we need to overstand open gates work both ways. There's a whole globe waiting for the xenophobe. Good riddance to bad rubbish, please. Because I can't think of a fairer trade than fascists for refugees. Sorry, I'll work myself a bit when I read that. Yeah. What really disturbed me when I went to see them out there, I spoke about a guy called Joseph, and he was there with 3 relatives of his in a little mud shack, and he was telling me about you know, how he tried to get to England to reach family in England, and then we just saw, we walked out into Calais and saw Nazis. There's one guy with a swastika on his jacket, a bunch of racist thugs who just enjoyed to go onto the camp and kick some heads in. And there were various refugees coming back. If they'd gone into Calais to fetch supplies, they were coming back with black eyes and broken limbs. And the French police did nothing. Right, I'm going to shut up now because otherwise I shall end up punching something and I don't want to. So thanks ever such a lot for having me, and take care. Have a lovely rest of evening.
Thank you.
Giovanni, thank you so much. Molto grazie, molto grazie. That was fantastic. I thought he was just going to make us laugh, and there he was, sucking it between the eyes. What a guy. Thank you very much. No wonder you were poet laureate again. All these poet laureates were blessed with beautiful people who know so much, have so many skills. Well, there we are. Now, we're not finished, but I did say some thank yous earlier on, and I'm just going to briefly repeat them because I think we've had a fantastic thank you to everybody who's contributed. Oh, we've got one more thing to come, don't go yet. Everybody's contributed out of their generosity, their skills, their talent, their time, and their enthusiasm for the same causes that Amnesty supports. And it's been a booster, I think, to our motivation to be Amnesty members, watching and listening today. There were a couple of glitches which were really sad. I'm very sorry about that. The whole thing has been recorded the whole day. It will be going on the festival YouTube channel, and we'll see if we can do something to correct and amend the difficult bits that perhaps let us down, and must have disappointed the people who'd worked on it so hard. But thank you also to the team who put this together, all of whom are somewhere on screen or other, and to Aston Villa again for the platform, and not least, especially to Hercules for coming out of the. It's locked in the Villa ground this morning, and they couldn't get him out. So thanks to everybody. Team, have I missed anybody out, please? Because I don't want to, and I could do, because I'm really waiting for that cup of tea in a moment. No.
Yourself, John. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks to you. All the
Yeah, I
hard
was
work.
going to say thank you, John. You've done a huge amount of work to pull it all together.
Yeah, that's excellent. Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to Monday when I'm getting back to the real enjoyable things in life, like cleaning the drains. But there we go. Now we have one more.
John,
oh, hello.
all together.
Sorry.
Thanks, John, for putting it all together. You've done a great job.
It's a team effort, and I know I moaned and nagged a bit, but it's a team effort, and of course a team effort beyond us, because behind the half a dozen people in the team are all our group members who knew we were doing this and gave us support and asked if they could help, and so on and so forth. So it's Amnesty, a lot of it in Birmingham, in the Midlands. Hope you've enjoyed it. Well, there we go. Talk about, there's a phrase, I don't know what it is, last minute thingies. We have a film of a performance coming up. Again, it's been specially made for tonight, but it actually only arrived, Pete, I think about an hour ago, and I was just texting Pete to see if we'd actually received it. We must get WeTransfer to work faster. This is a guy called Panmaestro. Pat there in Sutton came across him looking for this kind of music. We wanted something a bit different and a bit diverse to finish with. So we're going to play you out, as they say, with Norman Stewart, who's Panmaestro. He started playing steel pan at school in Wolverhampton, joined the Maestro steel band. He's played steel band all over the world, including leading the Maestro steel band to be the first one to play in the old Ukraine and in Africa, in the Middle East, the Caribbean, and several European countries. He says it's a pleasure to bring the power of music to all kinds of people and brighten up their lives. So for the last time today, I hope the technology works. And here we go on our finale piece with Panmaestro. Good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the day. There we go. Team, if you could stay behind just so that we can all synchronize when we collapse. And good night, everybody else. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for doing this.
And don't forget the rest of the festival. Go to that website. There's lots of other events. People have invested a lot of hard work in them. Go and attend and give them applause too. Come back and see Van Lee Burke on the 21st of May. And I'll keep going if you keep staying.
Great day. Thank you so much.
Thanks for inviting me and thanks for a great festival.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yes.
All was excellent. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.